Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. Over the course of the past month, we've seen YouTube demonetization strike a surprising number of channels. Large or small, these channels have seen their entire catalogs of videos, or at the very least, the vast majority of their catalogs, demonetized and marked as not suitable for advertisers. This has resulted in rampant speculation and a now very vocal call for channels to abandon YouTube in favor of other systems like Twitch, Vimeo, or VidMe, to name but a few. I myself had even speculated a bit in a previous video in regards to this situation, but I thought that, given there are far more questions than answers out there, that I would actually apply some logic and reason to work through some of what has been happening. So it is worth noting that YouTube's guidelines on what it deems to be, quote, advertiser friendly has been around for an extremely long time, although it gained a fair amount of visibility in September of 2016 when the YouTube system added the now infamous yellow dollar sign to indicate that a video was not considered to be advertiser friendly and that the video would receive limited or no monetization, which comes in the form of ads being run on the video in question. This also included a revamping of the bots that controlled the system that many had found to be far too aggressive and restrictive, many times marking completely innocuous videos as advertiser unfriendly. This system received a revamp at the beginning of this month that further outlined these guidelines, and the system implemented what appeared to be a new AI to handle all decisions on monetization. This new system has since proceeded to mass flag videos, seemingly afflicting entire channels at one time, and due to the lack of known quantities, speculation as to what will trigger the system runs rampant. Some channels believe it to be a blacklist that triggers on channels regardless of the content posted, and there are some channels that have demonstrated completely benign content being demonetized within minutes of it being uploaded, even if the video is marked private or public. However, the video being marked private would have nothing to do with the systems in place, as one can still flag a video to be monetized whether it is marked private or not, so that aspect is something of a non-issue, and I'm actually a little surprised to see so many channels make the mistake of drawing that comparison. Now, in addition to that, many have speculated that conservative-leaning channels and independent channels were being targeted, and given Google and YouTube's publicly stated stance on the current social and political climate, especially within the US, those assumptions at a superficial glance would appear to be correct, although I personally think it more likely due to those styles of channels being more likely to violate YouTube's rules on what it terms to be advertiser-friendly. Regardless, the system does state its, quote, advertiser-friendly content guidelines that include somewhat vague definitions for the following categories: controversial issues and sensitive events, drugs and dangerous products or substances, harmful or dangerous acts, hateful content, inappropriate language, inappropriate use of family entertainment characters, incendiary and demeaning content, sexually suggestive content, and violence. And while some of these are fairly self-explanatory, others, like hateful content, is extremely vague and as such is highly subjective in nature. This could lead to a large number of misconceptions and can and has caused trouble for content creators, even for channels that are much more benign, like Philip DeFranco has seen his channel run afoul of these guidelines in the past. However, given what we've seen with YouTube and its actions in the past, coupled with what we know of technology in general, we can make a few educated assumptions that are more than likely more accurate. The first is a result of the new AI system and analytics used to flag content. Typically, these AI learn the most from setting their systems to the most restrictive settings possible and then slowly easing off while building things out to catch false flags and the like. It's not unlike programming a corporate firewall. You first set the system to block literally everything and then poke holes in it for what you need, leaving the rest alone. Second would be in terms of the channels seeing their entire libraries demonetized and new videos being flagged almost immediately. We know YouTube has a revamped 3 strikes and you're out system for its DMCA filing process to be able to comply with its safe harbor provisioning. This could be an overly restrictive application of a similar setup, where if a certain as-yet-to-be-divulged number of videos on a specific channel gets flagged, the system is set to add that channel to a blacklist of a better safe than sorry category that will automatically flag that channel's videos until they can be reviewed by a human being. This would make a fair amount of sense when coupled with the first assumption that this is a new system that is cutting its teeth and so its settings are cranked up to maximum as it learns. However, the severe problems here are numerous. First, from an IT standpoint, it is typically unthinkable to test such a convoluted and complex system in a production environment. The damage that it can and has caused would be extreme. Normally, the system would be tested in a sandbox or mock environment before implementation. It would seem to me that YouTube did not take those precautions into consideration and threw all caution to the wind, content creators be damned. The second main example is a result of the previous reason. The fact that pushing the system into production when it is clearly not ready is causing damage, and human hands are not capable of keeping up with the influx of videos flagged for manual review. As this is the case, YouTube has decided to limit those reviews to videos that have had 1,000 or more views during the past week. The problem with this is also twofold, or I should say there are two larger issues with this. Firstly, with channels with larger catalogs of videos, they can still see hundreds or thousands of views per day on their older videos that still might only see a few dozen or a couple of hundred views per week on the individual videos in question. This will completely remove any residual or trickle income from happening on those videos that might still equate to dozens or even hundreds of dollars per month in ad revenue for those channels. Also, this will, in many instances, completely remove any chance at monetization for smaller channels who might only receive a few hundred views per video. And while I know that those channels don't earn a lot in 2 or 3 or even 500 views per video, they still earn a little. And speaking from a position of experience, that little bit can still incentivize those smaller channels to improve their craft and give them a drive to further perfect their content, which creates better and better quality of videos for viewers. Now, another glaring issue with this problem is the simple reality that the vast majority of views for most content creators occurs within the first 48 hours of the video being posted. After that, there is a sharp decline until the video will eventually trickle down to negligible levels. Those videos being automatically demonetized quite literally cuts the legs out from under any channel affected. Large and small, all channels that suffer from this blanket demonetization means that their ad revenue has been cut to nearly nothing at all. And through it all, some of the damage could have been mitigated or at least partially avoided had YouTube at least bothered to communicate with its content creators. And more often than not, YouTubers are left completely in the dark as to YouTube's actions until well after the fact, and it seems with ever-increasing regularity, YouTube's actions directly harm its content creators in an effort to appease its advertisers. And it is the result of that complete lack of communication that has the majority of content creators having absolutely no loyalty to the platform itself, merely dealing with it as a necessary evil because nothing better has come along yet. But it is actions like these that will allow competition for YouTube to slowly come to pass. There's no legitimate competition yet, but eventually it will happen, and YouTubers will then be forced to make a decision, and I honestly believe that given the choice, most content creators will not show any loyalty to the platform that has never once shown them any loyalty whatsoever in the past. But there are some ways that you, the viewer, can help your favorite channels whether they're affected by this or not. The first is, make sure to watch their videos and engage with them as much as you can. Throw them a like, share them on social media, and leave a comment. All of those help to raise visibility for those channels, and even if they don't see any ad revenue, it will still help let them know that you're still out there and still watching. It might give them a little bit of hope. Now, having your ad revenue stripped away can also be highly demoralizing and in some cases financially crippling. You can also help by donating a small amount of money if you have it to spare. Many channels have a Patreon or PayPal donation system in place, and given current ad revenue, $1 per month would equate to anywhere between 500 and 1,500 views per month in ad revenue. And while $1 from one person sounds like a small amount, multiply that by hundreds or even thousands of people and you have a viable method to support the channel. And as always, please remember to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. This is an important topic that is seeing far too much damage done with far too few answers being given by YouTube. And in light of recent events in this regard, I would like to take a moment to remind everyone of my own Patreon, which I typically place a link to down in the description. I don't lock any of my content behind a paywall, but I do make use of the money to support my channel. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.